White House under fire on several fronts as the president struggles to get traction for his second term. The latest headache, revelations that the IRS has been targeting conservative groups like the Tea Party for extra scrutiny. ABC's chief White House correspondent John Carl has latest on that. And John, you've dug up some information overnight that this targeting began even earlier than we thought.
That's right, George. I have obtained a soon-to-be-released investigative report that shows that the IRS started targeting Tea Party groups more than 3 years ago, and that among the criteria they used was to target groups that were critical of the way the country is being run.
Despite publicly claiming otherwise, the new report obtained by ABC News shows the IRS began targeting conservative groups as far back as 2010, and that senior IRS officials have known about it for almost 2 years. The IRS recently acknowledged targeting groups with Tea Party or Patriot in their names, but this morning ABC News has learned the new report goes further. A draft of that document, prepared by the IRS's internal watchdog, says the IRS was also tracking groups whose goals included, quote, limiting government and educating on the Constitution and Bill of Rights, and even groups that, quote, criticize how the country is being run. On Friday, the White House said it had no idea that the IRS was targeting Tea Party groups.
There is no question that if this activity took place, it's inappropriate and there needs to be action taken.
The IRS has since apologized, blaming it all on low-level employees with no political bias. But conservatives aren't buying that.
How stupid do they think we are?
Bottom line is they use key words to go after conservatives.
The IRS isn't the only headache for the White House, which continues to take heat about the extensive editing of the CIA talking points it used to describe the attack that killed 4 Americans in Benghazi, Libya last September.
I would call it a cover-up in the extent that there was willful removal of information which was obvious. It was obvious.
The president will have a chance to respond to all of this later this morning when he has a joint press conference with British Prime Minister David Cameron. George?
But more broadly, John, the White House facing, these questions about the IRS, these questions about Benghazi, trying to get the health care program up and running. Do they have a plan to get back on offense now at the start of the second term?
Well, the big thing is to respond and move on. They believe that they can weather this stuff, that they need to quickly kind of respond and get onto their agenda. But, George, I sense no overarching plan to move on except to try to keep talking about their agenda.